strategize the best way to try and gain on our opposition. Holcim, they were 30 miles ahead.
Very happy of where we are, even if it's definitely not finished. There is still plenty to come. It's quite a good start.
Welcome to the Ocean Race Show, where we left our teams locked into a drag race, where boat lengths were hard won, but easily lost in the case of a nosedive or broaching out of control, and where everyday life takes a back seat.
Jack, is this how you plan to start every birthday from here on out, or what?
Your birthday today?
Happy birthday, dude. Yeah, early morning feel.
You know, started with a nice 8 hours in the bunk, you know, and then a lovely gourmet breakfast.
Straight to the office.
Here. Yeah, then straight into the office. You know, I got a pretty short commute. It's only 2 steps, so not too bad. But yeah, not too bad.
No time for birthdays on the Amokas and barely enough chance to sleep on the VO65s, but that's how each day of the race works.
I have to say everyone is getting very, very tired, including me, but working super hard for it. Well, you know, I think still 3 more days of sailing, maybe 4. So that's, in the end, we're gonna attack for sure and gonna give it our best, eh?
Jelmer van Beek knowing that this leg is coming closer to the end, meaning that any of our VO65s have limited moves left to try and catch race leaders Wind Whisperer Racing Team, who, like everybody else, are enjoying the fact that now that they're off the breeze, they can let the boats rip.
Finally, we are downwind. We had a nice last 24 hours. It was mostly reaching and downwind. So now the sun is shining, going south, and nice wind, so all good.
The VO65s have a new weapon in their sail inventory that wasn't available during the last edition, the A4, a downwind asymmetric spinnaker. And using this new kite and lined up with a perfect wind angle, Team Yayo put in their best 24-hour run, 445 nautical miles. But another of our VO65s got the top run of the fleet, 476 nautical miles from Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, as they too enjoyed the conditions.
Ed, how are you feeling? Good. Finally, I get some rest before this watch. So I really fall asleep for the first time, so that was good. Now we are in the perfect conditions for this boat. 25 knots downwind, big waves, masthead 0, triple-headed. We're going fast in the direction where we want to go to Cape Verde.
Meanwhile, Viva Mexico are back on the water and sailing again.
2 days ago we were fighting for the podium, and today it's just to finish the leg, but still, as long as you have a good goal in your head, the motivation is the same, so happy to go back out sailing.
Even though Viva Mexico waited for the worst of the breeze to blow through to spare the second mainsail from the same conditions that ripped their first, there was plenty of wind and waves ready to welcome them back to the racetrack. The other 5 VO65s are long past the upwind conditions in the Strait and have been blasting downwind in a drag race to the Canary Islands, with Amber Sail 2, at the moment, at the back. Our sailors are still having a rough time, but now at least they're going fast and it all seems to be a bit more bearable.
I think everything I brought is either wet or more wet. So nothing's dry, but we're still having fun.
The crew is doing a really good job. They're working hard. They're doing every sail change without any complaints. They're pushing the boat really hard, so they want to race, and so far so good.
There was still plenty of miles ahead for the VO65s, but who doesn't enjoy fast sailing in the sunshine? Team Hulson PRB had the best run of RM mockers, covering 520.14 nautical miles in 24 hours. Not bad for our first downwind blast of our 50th anniversary edition of the race. Well, the race in the Imoca fleet has been a battle of attrition. We've had breakdowns and that constant need to take your foot off the gas, slow the boat down so you can safely go on deck for repairs or even sail changes.
I took the opportunity. Happily.
It's clearly nice to be on deck and stand straight in the fresh air, but racing is racing, and doing the job fast, getting back down below and accelerating the boat again is how they'll stay in the fight for first place. And that battle for first place was certainly intense. 11th Hour Racing Team was set up slightly to the north of the current leaders, Team Hulson PRB to the south, and then behind, well, a little bit of a stretch between 1 and 2 before we get to 3, 4 and 5. At the back, Guyot Environment Team Europe trying to decide what was the best way to line themselves up for the Canary Islands, with Biotherm firmly setting up for that western edge. And in the middle, Team Militia finding some good form and having to decide whether it was more important to defend the boats behind or attack the leaders.
We had a few issues earlier, but now they're manageable, so it's pretty perfect. And yeah, enjoying the highway south, to be honest. Pretty nice.
Guyot Environment Team Europe hoped that their easterly move would pay off, and they did seem to have a little bit more wind to play with, but with the extra power came the risk of nosedives, and the sea state was a constant obstacle to their progress, causing the speed to vary and making living on board very hard.
We just went 33 knots. Sometimes we accelerate to 33 knots and then decelerate to about 20, and now I've got to get boiling hot water into here without burning us. Wish me luck, Charles. Wish me luck.
Annie Lush looking after her teammates and hoping to find a way back through the field as this leg goes into its final stages. All of our teams are receiving weather data, and with that information, they can pass that through their navigational computers, running very complicated software, just like the software that we have here in Race Control. Now, that software is going to tell them where to go, but of course, it's not actually that easy. What if the forecast doesn't match up with the reality? Then you've got the computer telling you something that's wrong. Well, to help us understand exactly what's going on in the minds of the navigators, have a listen to this exchange between Charlie Enright, Jack Boutel and Simon Fisher on 11th Hour Racing Team.
We're in a 44 wind, it thinks we're in a 60 wind, it calls for the throw.
What skipper Charlie Enright is saying here is that the forecast is saying that the breeze should be blowing from 60 degrees or east-northeast on the compass. But it's actually blowing from 44 degrees or more like northeast. So they're not quite lining up. And the computer, because it thinks the wind is coming from a different direction, says that they should be on a different sail. They should be on the FRO, or the FRO, the fractional reaching code 0. So they've realized that the computer is wrong, but the trouble is now that they need to think for themselves. And this is where the debate comes in.
But, I mean, that's great news.
Exactly.
So I think do nothing.
What do you think? I think right now in a 40 wind, moving along nicely on a glorious sunny day in the North Atlantic.
Thank you.
Just chill.
I think if we had a 60 wind, we'd be puckered right now.
Yeah.
That's not a term that I would use, but I think it's fairly clear to say that they are happier with the fact that the breeze is further to the north, even if it's only that 16-degree difference between the forecast and the reality. And the reason being is because that means they don't have to go on deck, slow the boat down and do another sail change, which means letting Team Hulson PRB stretch further ahead.
The wind's forecast to get lighter ahead, which might put us on a different sail. But obviously sail changes are expensive. We're rumbling along now at 29 knots and we've got to slow down to, maybe 15 knots to change. So if we've got to change, slow down, change, sail for a bit, and then slow down again and change back, it gets pretty costly. So yeah, as long as we're going as fast on course with this sail, it's all good. The The wind we got and the weather models don't agree perfectly, so we've just kind of got to do, keep thinking of doing what's best. And there's a geographic element to the route, so we've got to put the boat in the right place to get the wind bends, irrespective of what actual wind we might have right now.
These conversations will be taking place on every boat, every hour, or at least every moment that the wind changes. If you're not there, constantly questioning whether you're going in the right direction or you've got the boat set up correctly, you might miss an opportunity to go fast. And we've certainly seen these boats finding their groove. A different mood on board Team Holcim PRB, leading still, and while they are feeling the presence of the boats just behind, the fast approaching end of this leg means they won't need to hold on too much longer.
But no, very happy with the speed of the boat, very happy with the crew, very happy of where we are, even if it's definitely not finished. There is still plenty to come. It's quite a good start.
We've seen so much on leg one, a lot more drama than some of us predicted, and who better to help us understand exactly where this puts our teams than former Ocean Race skipper and IMOCA sailor Sam Davies. She dialed in to give us her thoughts on leg one.
What I'd just like to say is that from a sailor's point of view, there's quite often a big difference between what we see on the screen as an average speed and what's actually happening on board. When there's a sail change, we can see the boat speed go down on an average over 4 hours. But there's lots of other things that happen as you're going along that mean from time to time you have to bear away, slow down, reset something, such as a rudder that might pop up. You might have to send someone forward to adjust a line or clear something. You might have another issue that requires like hitting some weed to slow down. All these little moments, which happen every hour at least, mean that when we are seeing an average speed of 20 knots on the screen over 4 hours, actually the boats are hitting averages more like 28, and they're easily seeing 30, over 30 very, very often. So just that to remember for everybody who's watching on land. What I love is the images we see of Militia. It looks like their new foils seem to be really easy to get the boat going and have really good attitude flying. It definitely looks like they're plug and play foils, and Boris and his team will be really happy with those, I think. And finally, we're seeing a really great battle between Holcim BRB and 11th Hour. If we look closely on the averages, it looks like Holcim BRB are managing to sail about 4 degrees lower on average. That's definitely a secret mode that they've found, and they are flying. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see if the other boats in the fleet manage to work out what that is. So let's see what happens on that final run into Cape Verde. It looks like it's going to be close.
All our VO65s have been much closer to the African coast than our IMOCA fleet and are lining up for their last jibes into Cabo Verde, with Wind Whisperer Racing Team looking strong out in front. In the IMOCAs, Team Holcim PRB are in the lead, and perhaps now, with too little time to be caught, will 5 points go to the French boat? Is this leg all but concluded? Well, the final push to Cabo Verde may still hold some big surprises yet. The prediction is that our boats will finish from midnight Friday into the early hours of Saturday morning, and that is going to conclude an incredibly intense first leg. But of course, the battle's not over yet, and we could still see some big moves as the fleet make their way to the finish line in Cabo Verde.
Power of the airboat.
I'm Nathan Florence, your host. I'm a big wave surfer, a YouTube extraordinaire. I'm a son of a surfer, a brother to 2 surfers. In this series, you guys are going to meet some of the local talent that I think will be representing the next generation. To me, the Triple Crown is one of the most historic events in Hawaii. Our first Hawaiian world champions in surfing were crowned through the Triple Crown. Every surfer from around the world, young or old, the pros, every brand that backs surfing, all converges into one 8-mile location on the North Shore of Oahu. In the end, the Triple Crown is about celebrating surfing, which came from Hawaii. Moana is one of the fieriest young female up-and-coming surfers I've seen, and one of the only young female surfers I've seen willing to put the time in at Pipeline.
My name is Moana Lani Jones Wong, and I'm a professional surfer, and I'm from the North Shore of Oahu. I'm very feisty. Big things come in little packages. I thought I was never gonna be able to surf pipe and like ever get like sick waves out there. Like thought that was impossible, but I worked hard and made it happen because that was like my dream. That's all I ever wanted. And I'm gonna keep on trying because I'm not satisfied with the waves I got out there. I want bigger ones. I want to catch like the gnarly waves that Nate goes for, and I want to catch those waves. So that's my goal. Hi, Nate.
Good morning.
What's up?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you. What do we got going on for today?
So today we are going to do my little kids surf school. They have all their boards, so I just need to throw this in the car and grab my wetsuit and we're good to go.
Perfect.
I think Nate is qualified to be my surf assistant today because I think the kids are really gonna think he's funny and they're gonna like be stoked to go surfing with him.
Probably qualified due to the fact that I've been more work than 99% of the surf population, so I can hopefully help our students avoid that today.
They're gonna be like, Nate Florence, no way. So I started the surf school because that's something that I really thought was important, and it's also just trying to give back to all the kids. I wish growing up, an older girl that surfed good was encouraging me and pushing me into some ways. I would have been so stoked. Oh, nice.
That was good. That was perfect for the kids.
They it's funny because that was the biggest they've ever gone out, but the kids loved it actually.
They loved it.
They had
and
so much
someone
fun.
rode bombs.
Yeah, they were when they came in, they're like, that was the biggest wave I caught in my life.
Yeah.
They're just like,
yeah. He goes, I went 45 miles an hour. I was like, yeah, you did.
It was so funny when he was.
So them seeing you putting the time in out at Pipe in these bigger spots and then coming and taking the time to teach them, they can turn that into their own personal goals a lot easier than even a far older person giving those lessons, it's more relatable for them.
I thought surfing pipe was never gonna happen for me. I've never seen really any girls surf out there, but all the little girls see me doing it and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna surf out there with you when we get older. To be competing in the Triple Crown this year is really exciting for me because this is my home. All these spots is I grew up surfing these spots, and this is where my family has been for so many years. This is the ocean that my ancestors are in, and I'm with them out here.
My name is Imai Kalani Duvall. I'm 24 years old from Maui, Hawaii, and I'm a professional surfer.
Being from the outer islands, I feel like I've taken that underdog image throughout my whole surfing career.
We're back again in 2022 with the Pick and Pay People and Planet Cleanup.
Save Fishy is an organisation where we run beach cleanups and environmental campaigns, education awareness, everything on how you can save your planet in a simple and easy way. We are so happy to have partnered with Pick and Pay today, and we have had an amazing turnout. I think we're really going to give this beach a good once over and hopefully just save some fishies and do our part for the planet for Earth Day.
This is an educational program that aims to raise awareness on reducing plastic pollution. Since 2019, we have managed to do a total of 32 cleanups. We have had 1,850 volunteers. We have collected over 3,700 kilograms of waste that would have ended up in our rivers and oceans.
We've got a great turnout here today, and Blue Ribbon has brought along our eco warriors to participate in the beach cleanup.
One of our promises is to care for the earth and living things, and obviously that includes cleaning the beach and looking after our environment.
Anywhere you see dirt, you have to clean it up. If you see something lying on the ground, you should pick it up and throw it in the bin or recycle it.
Really amazing how such a young person has started such a big initiative, and we were really happy, to actually come here and support.
And I feel that it is our job to look after creation, and so it's our job to keep our beaches clean.
Each of our volunteers will be given one of these recyclable bags, which is made from recycled PET bottles. We want our volunteers to use these bags on their next shopping trip. And we'd like to do a big thank you to all the volunteers who've come out here today. Thank you very, very much.
Durban is a thriving modern city in KwaZulu-Natal, home of the Zulu nation. Its people live a fast-paced 21st century life, yet many of them carry their traditions deep within them. I find that the traditional Zulu attire is so regal looking. Just the colors and the vibrancy, just beautiful. I traveled out of Durban to discover the Zulu way of life. I didn't realize how close the city is to the beautiful rolling hills of the heartland. I was excited to find people still living according to a proud, passionate heritage, not just respecting the old ways, but celebrating tradition joyously. I found people with an amazing zest for life, flashes of color everywhere. I was swept up in the drama, the noise, the excitement of it all. I mean, every photographer lives for those moments. It's something I'll never forget.
January 22nd, 1973.
In one of its most controversial rulings, the U.S. Supreme Court legalizes abortion in the landmark case of Roe v. Wade. Also that same year,
for in your time, we have the opportunity to move not only toward the rich society and the powerful society, but upward to the great society.
former President Lyndon Johnson dies in Texas at age 64. Johnson's legacy includes civil rights laws, domestic programs such as Medicare, and an expansion of the Vietnam War that divided the nation. 1998, Theodore Kaczynski pleads guilty to being the Unabomber. In return, he gets life in prison without parole. Kaczynski's brother, David.
We are finally at a place where we can begin a process of healing.
1901, Britain's Queen Victoria, whose more than 50-year rule saw the British Empire reach its peak, dies at age 82. 1953, Arthur Miller's drama The Crucible opens on Broadway. Set during the Salem witch trials, the play takes aim at McCarthyism and the Red Scare of the 1950s. And 1968.
And now, folks, it's Suck It To Me time.
And You Bet Your Sweet Bippy, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, the TV comedy classic from the counterculture era, premieres on NBC. Today in History, January 22nd. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
Welcome back in our studio, and in today's news,